Story time. So some time ago, I picked up the shift in a hospital, but it wasn't on the floor. It was in the peri-operative unit, and I was working in recovery. There are a number of differences between outpatient surgery and inpatient surgery. Inpatient surgery, the patient is either going back to a floor or they're going home. You can still be discharged from surgery from the hospital. So, that being said, when you're in an outpatient surgery center, you're only going home. You're only leaving there to go back to where you came, but you're not staying overnight. In some cases, there's a 23-hour hold, but even then, that's a sometimes kind of thing. It's not standard for you to stay overnight or go back to a room. No, not at a surgery center. So this patient that I had what was called a closed reduction fracture procedure, meaning a fracture was corrected without the patient having to be cut open. That is it explained in simplest terms. If you want more details, feel free to look it up. But essentially, closed reduction means we didn't cut you open to fix an orthopedic issue. We didn't have to. It was done under anesthesia though, so recovery time is still a necessity before you either go back to your room or go back home. This particular patient was going back to a room. And please keep in mind that I understand that it is not always expected for a nurse who works in one department to understand the terminology and lingo of a nurse that works in another department. So for example, let's say that somebody stuck me in labor and delivery. It has been years, eons, since I have actually worked there consistently. So no, don't expect me to just pick up on the terminology and the lingo of labor and delivery. No, but I'm also not going to expect a med-surg nurse to come to the OR and understand all of the equipment or the terms that are used. Okay, I understand that. I understand that as I continue to tell this story, okay? Also, real quick, I just want to interrupt the story to say that I have created a website called dirtywordsmith.com. The link will be below, and it's also in my link tree. You should go check it out because I have signed copies of my novel available for purchase. It'll say out of stock, not to worry, place your pre-order, you're going to get it. Anyways, back to the story. So, I had this patient who had that procedure. I was about to say dirty reduction because the name of my website is Dirty Wordsmith. Anyways, closed reduction. It's time for me to call the room, the nurse of the patient from another floor. So let's say that they came from med-surg 3rd floor. I have to call the nurse that was caring for this patient on that floor to give them the report of what took place here in the perioperative unit, in the OR and here in PACU, right? So I call. Let's say that the nurse's name was Rebecca. I call Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca. This is Ashley. I just want to give a report on your patient. You're getting your patient back. Okay, great. I go down the list of things that are a necessity. One of the important things, the most important things that you have to share with a nurse that you are giving a patient back to from a surgery is what the incision looks like. But because there is no incision, I didn't need to include that in the report. Okay? So after I had shared all the information that I had shared, the medications that was given here, medications that was given in the OR, the anesthesiologist, the surgeon, a slew of other pieces of information. I also didn't have to share things like the patient's history and why she was even here in the first place because this nurse, Rebecca, was already caring for this patient. I'm literally just telling her what happened here. Rebecca then asks, what does the incision look like? I'm not feeling any type of way. I don't feel weird. I don't feel the urge to be annoyed or roll my eyes. I just explained to her, re-explained, it's actually a closed reduction procedure, meaning that they didn't have to open her up. So I don't have any information on an incision for you. So she put me on hold I said, okay, no worries. And she comes back and she says, actually, my charge nurse just said to me that you need to give me a report on the incision. I said, okay, maybe I'll explain it a different way. So the way this procedure works is a very large part of it is not having to cut the patient open, meaning the entirety of the procedure is done without having to break the patient's skin, to go in, to pass the layers of the skin, the muscle, to get to the bone, to do any sort of correction. None of that took place. You understand what I'm saying? None of that happened. It was closed. Now, I'm not saying it slowly to her the way I'm saying it to y'all, because that would be a little disrespectful. I just re-explained it, but I used different terms. And to be honest with you, it was probably a little bit more confusing because I felt like I had to use more words to explain what I just explained in hopes that she would understand. No, it was not a success. So then she puts me on hold and then she puts her charge nurse on the phone. I don't know what it is I'm doing wrong. Charge nurse says, hey, can I speak to your charge nurse for a sec? Sure. I put her on hold. I called the charge nurse over. Now understand, guys, I picked up this shift. I don't really know anybody's personality. I don't know how they feel when these kinds of things take place, because it happens, okay? So I explained to her, I was like, I told this nurse what kind of procedure this patient had. I said that it was closed. I said that it was a closed reduction procedure. And they seem to be under the impression that I'm deliberately refusing to share incision information with them. And she was like, there is no incision. And I said, yes, I know. They don't seem to understand that. She wants to talk to you. She was like, okay. So she gets on the phone. There were a bunch of, okay, right, but no, I understand, but. And every time I'm not hearing what the other charge nurse is saying, but the way in which my charge nurse is genuinely actively trying to get another set of words out is a solid indication that there was probably a bit more aggression. Now, when she gets off the phone, she basically tells me that there's an ongoing sort of war between this floor and the perioperative unit, PACU, because somehow they get the patient and there's always a piece of information that was withheld, or the patient gets there and the patient's in a world's worth of pain. Let me tell y'all something. While we have the patient, the PACU, the recovery unit, rarely a large space. So when I'm in the process of giving you a report, I'm not going to stand in front of the patient if the patient is actively having pain and deliberately tell you on the phone in front of the patient that the patient is not having pain. Okay? I'm going to ask the patient, are you having pain? They're going to say yes or no. If they said no, that's why I'm on the phone giving you a report. They're in a better state. They're more comfortable. When they get to the floor and they decide to be in a 10 out of 10 pain, come on. Don't assume that I just chose to send the patient up uncomfortable on purpose. So that's what the charge nurse was saying, that there's always some sort of disconnect or miscommunication between the PACU and this floor, and the charge nurse had just had it up to here and she's taking it out on me. I'm like, I get it, but that still doesn't even make any sense for me, because I'm telling you what kind of procedure this is. I am educating you. There is no incision. So the charge nurse was like, no, I get it. I'm going to take the patient up. You already gave a report, right? I said, yes, I did. She said, I'm going to take the patient up. Okay, you got it. So the patient and my charge nurse goes upstairs. I don't know what ends up happening. I'm down here, right? I'm waiting. I'm waiting for my charge nurse's return. My charge nurse comes back downstairs and she was like, hey, they're saying that you never told them that this was the kind of procedure that doesn't require an incision. I said, I don't know how that is something that I could have possibly left out. That doesn't even make a teeny tiny bit of sense. And as soon as she said that, I was like, I'm beginning to see where the problem is. They swear there's a miscommunication, there's a disconnect. I feel like that entire conversation that I had with them, where this patient's lack of incision is concerned, is a solid indication that they are the problem in this little feud y'all got going on. And I got caught up in the middle of it. That's a lie. That is a lie. Why would I not tell her? Anyways, she was like, don't even worry about it. And this is, I know I have shared a story like this in the past. When you pick up a shift at a different facility working with people that you have never worked with before, you could feel alone. And by alone, I feel like if anything goes wrong, don't expect to have the support system of that staff at that facility, wherever it was that you picked up. So it was nice to have this charge nurse be like, don't even worry about it. There's already a long, wonky history between this unit and that unit. I'm not even mad at you. I'm not even questioning you. Here's the thing. Real quick, don't forget to check out dirtywordsmith.com and pre-order your signed copy of your novels. Also, join the Patreon. I recommend to all new nurses, if you don't understand something, if you are not privy to something, please do not feel bad. Please do not feel the need to impress a seasoned nurse or a nurse who is really full of him or herself and loves to spew random pieces of information that isn't necessary. Just say you don't know and ask. Ask. Research. Look it up. Do not pretend to know. You will not learn. Ask. Just ask. And if you didn't know, say you don't know, but do not say that another nurse didn't tell you. You didn't understand. It's okay not to understand. That is the opportunity to learn. Okay. Okay. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. All right. I have a campaign. For those of you who follow Zyla, my sexy storytelling podcast, the link is also below for that. Everything is in my link tree. We are running a campaign to turn it into a big, beautiful visual production. We are super close to reaching our campaign goal. So keep contributing, join my Patreon, order those books, show your girl some love and support. Thank you so much.